Hi, everybody, and welcome to the new Race eSports unofficial SCCA Racing League brought to you by RaceVoice and Driver61. Tonight, we kick off the 9-week spring tour at the 2.5-mile, 12-turn Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta. I'm Greg Ginsburg from the Sports Car Club of America's Super Tour Radio, and joining me in the commentary booth tonight is Avery McDonald. And thanks to the great folks at Apex Racing TV and Dennis Branch, who's producing and directing the broadcast today. After 2 successful seasons of the SCCA eSports Super Tour, this summer, one of its organizers, Steve Ray, wanted to keep the momentum going. So here we are with many of the best drivers from that series, from the SCCA Foundation League, and many other accomplished Sports Car Club of America drivers, all joining together over this 9-week series with some great action. And Avery, welcome. And actually, I shouldn't be welcoming you. You should be welcoming me. Thank you for letting me join you and all the folks from Apex Racing TV here for the Ray Esports series.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you. I mean, this is a fun group of people. I've watched some of the stuff that Stevie's put on, and it's always got great racing. I'm a big fan of the Spec Racer Ford. I think it might be low on horsepower, but it's high on intensity and always has some great races. So I'm just excited to see this first race, which is the Spec Racer Ford. So, and I get a Mazda Cup coming after this one. So 2 great races tonight. Absolutely.
So the Ray Esports series, we're going to have 3 different classes over the course of the 9 weeks. We're going to have Spec Miatas, you mentioned. We're also going to have the Pro Mazdas and the Spec Racer Fords. We're going to, until we get to the championships at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which is where we're holding the 2021 SCCA National Championship runoff. So in the fall, actually this coming October, we're going to have 2 races per night each week. This week, as Avery mentioned, we're going to have Mazda MX-5, or what I call Spec Miata, so I'm sure I'll say it differently each and every time, and Spec Miata tonight, and next week, and we'll talk about next week a little bit later, we're going to have the Mazda MX-5s and the Pro Mazdas as well. But this race here, and as you can see on the ticker here, we've got just about 3 minutes left to go in qualifying. And to give you an idea of the format here, for each one of our race groups each week, we give them an 80-minute practice session, and then there's a 15-minute open qualifying where all the drivers are on track at once trying to set their fastest lap, which will in turn set the grid for a 20-minute race. And so, like I said, about 3.5 minutes left to go here. And our first race of the series and of the evening is going to be brought to you by RaceVoice, and we'll talk a little bit more about what RaceVoice is and the products that they offer a little bit later in the evening. But you said it, Avery, Spec Racer Ford, they're a little bit down on power, and these are, for those of you that are accustomed to SCCA racing, these are the equivalent of the Gen 2 Spec Racer Fords with the Ford Escort 1.9 liter motors, and of course, very limited adjustability. Of course, you can go and set your suspension settings, but very limited as far as rake and how far up or down you can set the height of the car. And in SCCA racing, there is a newer version of this, what we call the Gen 3, that uses the 1.6 liter motors from the Ford Focus, and is quite a bit faster. But you know, the great thing about Spec Racer Ford is that they're purpose-built race cars. They're tube-framed, and they really put on a great show, as Avery mentioned. They really work well in the draft. Matter of fact, as you look at these fiberglass bodies, they are set up really in order to give you a good draft. That the nose of these cars sits right underneath the ducktail of the car ahead of them, and it's not uncommon that you'll see races of cars 5 and 6, trains of 5 and 6 cars deep. It's really great racing here.
Yeah, you got to be able to maintain a good lines into out of the corners, like especially here as we are on board with Martin. Very tough part of the track, because if you just have a bad corner entrance and exit here, you got a long straightaway and you ain't catching up when they pull away from you. So, like you said, the draft is super important today.
Exactly. And so as we're watching Todd Martin here, in the number 15 car. He just came out of what is the slowest corner here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, turn number 7, which brings you on to the very long back straight here. And so, you know, as we talk about the cars, let's also talk a little bit about this track here. Really some very good flow, but the one thing that you find when you get to Road Atlanta, either in real life or here in iRacing, is there are some very, very difficult corners here, corners that really intimidate you. One of them, as we're watching here, as Todd comes down through turn 12, which has a huge, about 85-foot drop down onto the front straight. And the first couple times you run through there, the challenge is to actually keep your foot planted on the pedal. I don't think the drivers actually, you know, they're in iRacing, they're not going to feel that elevation drop as much as they do in real life, but still really a challenge. Or coming down here through the downhill S's from turn 3 all the way to turn 5, and then quickly having to work your way back up. And you'll see here, not uncommon as drivers go off into that runoff area off to the side. And again, there's so much at this track. A good friend of mine, Hayward Wagner, who's the director of experiential programs at SCCA, he likes to call this a big boy track. Avery is compared to some other facilities and some other tracks that we're going to be at this year. You know, it really is one of those tracks that really challenges you over the course of an entire lap, over a full minute 40, minute 45, depending on the car that you're running here at Road Atlanta.
Yeah, from my experience, Road Atlanta has to be one of the most technical tracks that I've driven on iRacing. I mean, you have so many opportunities to make a mistake, different types of turns, elevation change, long straightaways. It's literally one of the, in my opinion, one of the most difficult tracks to be just picture perfect for a whole entire race.
Exactly, yes, without a doubt. And we'll find some other tracks here on the Ray eSports series that also are certainly very technical, but you know, again, not many that are as intimidating as this track here. And I can tell you, not only in iRacing but in real life, I've balled up one too many cars. Let's put it that way. Here, it's definitely when it bites hard. All right, so looks like we've got the checkered flag out on qualifying. And so next up is going to be a 20-minute race. We're waiting here as drivers complete their last flying laps here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. As you can see here, the top driver in qualifying, at least to this point, as a couple drivers may still be on their last flying laps. Miles Crabb turns a 138 point, actually I guess a fast stop of a 138.12, and that is about 2/10 clear of Zach Burke and David Schwartz, just very close behind with a 138.60, as you can see here, 222 and 253 off of that qualifying pace. And Steve Ray, who is certainly well known for his exploits driving the virtual Spec Racer Ford, and I guess he is also big in the what's the series that he runs? We'll get back to it. Sorry, but it looks like he's going to be qualified for it. So Avery, why don't we run down the starting grid for our first race of the evening?
Well, I'll tell you what, pretty good time there from Miles Crabb getting the the SRF Weekend Warriors Series on Sundays, which you can also see on Apex Racing TV. It's a great series. They got Zach Burke in second from Canada, David Schwartz, Stevie Ray from the Ray Esports Racing, Caleb Petre, Kareem Hussein, Jeff Miner, Chad Griffith, Greg Mack, Christopher Hamilton rounds out the top 10, and Justin Cloutier and Charles Bowley. See,
Bowley. Yeah, it's Clarity and Bowley and or Bailey. Pardon me, Bailey.
Bailey. Names are tough. Definitely when. So yeah,
You got me on Michael's name. Michael Inocencio is going to be starting, or actually Charles Vaccaro 13th. Next to him will be Mike Inocencio. Then Todd Martin, who we were just watching a few moments ago here on track, will start 15th. Next to him will be Bryce Evans. Then we've got Sam Tully and Joaquin Effinger, 17th and 18th. Corey Hunter will start 19th. John Wilmoth will start 20th. Then William Sims, Danny Thomas, Russ Lundberg, and Russ is out of, I believe, out of the Atlanta region. He knows this track well, but he knows it as a flagger, not so much as a driver, but he's been putting in a lot of time behind the wheel in iRacing. Then we've got Wayne Buttermore starting 24th, and Andrew Wozencroft, who I know from the eSports Super Tour, will be starting 25th in the number 80 machine.
Taking that, Greg, that was tongue twisting for sure for Avery.
Yes.
It happens sometimes.
and let's also say Caleb Patry, who is starting 6th today. All right, so we've got the pace lap underway. It's going to be a short pace lap as they start on their way into turn 10A. They're going to come up the hill underneath the Suzuki Bridge, now known as the Fox Factory Bridge in real life, as they come down and roll down the hill into turn number 12, waiting for the green flag to be shown. And there it is. The green flag is in the air as Zach Burke and Miles Crabb in the front row. The number 13 and the number 31 try to make their way first down into turn 1. And the number 198 of Caleb Patry coming up the inside and going around on the first lap is the number 31 car of Chad, is not Chad Griffith. Oh my gosh. yeah, Miles Crabb, sorry. And Crabb now dropping all the way back to the rear of the field as our leaders come and make their way down through the downhill S's into turn number 5. Zach Burke and Caleb Patry are your leaders. Steve Ray in the number 11 car, he is 3rd, and David Schwartz in the number 100, about 3 car lengths, maybe 4 car lengths back, in 4th as they round now turn number 6, which is one of the banked cambered corners here, leads you into that very slow turn 7 as they now work their way onto the back straight, for the very first time. So a lot of action there just in turn 1, and it looks like the number 7 car, that's Justin Clardy, having some issues with turn number 7, runs wide, and that has dropped him back quite a bit as our leaders now coming down and making the run down into turn A for the very first time here, Avery.
Yeah, this is definitely the best opportunity to make a pass. You got the long straightaway to get the toe, and then a hard braking, able to outbrake them, and we'll go another side-by-side action with Samuel. It looks like that's the 317 going off track. Or
yeah, it looks like the number 7 of Clardy had some issues once again after going off at turn 7. He spins the car trying to go down the inside of the 17 car into 10A. It puts the car around. It looks like the 17 car came away with a little bit of damage as well, as our leaders now make their way back up the hill, starting their second lap there at turn number 3. And you'll notice at turn number 3, the drivers try to use as much of that curbing as possible at the apex, and it'll actually push the cars in the air wide over to drivers left. But now our leader, Caleb Patry, in the 198 car, makes his way down the hill. Steve Ray manages to get around the number 100 car, and looks like a lot of changes here up at the front of the field. Is another car having some issues, and that is the number 13 who was up towards the front of the field. That's Zach Burke, who's actually our pole sitter, and he's got a lot of damage there.
Yeah, he was going through the S's, kind of caught the curving and just kind of went around. We take a look at a replay of Zach Burke. Yep, just a little off the pace. Yep, hits the curbing and hard into the tire barrier. And well, luckily for this race, it's not completely over. He's got one quick repair, so we have to come down and get that one quick fix and get back out there. But Stevie Ray's out front.
Yeah, Steve Ray is now in the front with Caleb Patry second, and the number 100 car of Dave Schwartz. At the end of the first lap, he was a couple car lengths off our lead pack. He is now right in the battle. Now, you mentioned that the drivers all get one quick repair if they've got some damage to get them back to the pits and get them back out on track. In addition to that, I guess we'll just mention here, drivers that reach a total of 12 incidents on track will get a drive-through penalty, and if you work your way all the way up to 20 incidents, you're going to get black flagged and your day is done. All right, so now heading down into turn number 1, and we can see a little bit further back in the pack, we're looking at the number 21 car of Michael Saninocencio, and right trying to make up some ground right now on Sam Tully in the 24, and looks like Incencio has a little damage in the back of that car as well. Of course, in real life, they're fiberglass. You wouldn't have the little dents there. You'd be missing big chunks of bodywork. But I think that's the difference between the virtual world and the real world, is they make their way now. Here, we're going to check back in with our leaders as they come around turn 7 and make their way back onto the back straight here with Steve Ray, now our leader.
Yeah, Ray out in front. Got a nice little 3-car train. Schwartz is on the tail of the train, and there's Miner right behind him. Jeff Miner just kind of rolling by himself there. But one thing I've noticed from watching some of the Weekend Warrior Series races is, yeah, there's cars that get kind of a little bit of damage, but it doesn't tend to slow them down too much, as long as the pack is, if they're still in the pack. So you're gonna see these cars get a little dense.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's interesting that in real life, certain things with Spec Racer Fords will definitely cause more damage than others. They've got a very thin, very slim mail slot of an air opening in the nose, and you run up, like I said, the noses are meant to, and there's a great battle going on between the 311 car of Bryce Evans and I think the 777 of Hussein as they come into turn 12. Great pass there by Hussein. That if you go too far underneath the car in front of you, you can bang that little mail slot into the bit of a cage that surrounds the gearbox, and that'll close up your air opening. It's very, a little disconcerting when you see those water temps go through the roof right after something like that. But it's not uncommon to happen as we watch our leaders now make their way down into turn number 6. Again, cambered corner can carry a lot of speed through there. The challenge then is to get things slowed down in time to come through turn 7, as our leader Steve Ray does, with Caleb Patry only about a car length behind, and David Schwartz in the 100 car, a car and a half back from there. Pretty big jump till you get back to our 4th place car. That is Jeff Miner. He is now almost 3.5 seconds back, and I believe another 2 seconds back to Greg Mack in the number 2. Now, Miles Crabb, he did bring the car down into the pit lane, and I believe that he is back out on track now, but he is mired down all the way in 23rd position after having started out on the pole today.
Yeah, sitting back in 23rd, but still on the same lap, so he's going to have to make a charge if he wants to gain some positions. But right now, the battle between Evans and Griffith, a little bit of contact pushes Evans off the track, able to maintain a relatively decent pace for going off track as we go into the final turn, and a complete lap number 4.
Yeah, that completes lap number 4. We've got our leaders working lap 5 now. Now, where he went off over at turn 10A, or probably at 10B, coming up the hill towards the bridge, when you go off there, he lost a little bit of momentum, and it doesn't seem like much at that point where he rejoins, but it's kind of hard to carry speed down that hill and reach a terminal velocity as you go down under braking into turn 1. As we go back to our leaders, we're sitting with Caleb Patry in the number 198 car, right on the back of Steve Ray. We'll see if he is close enough, and it looks like he is, to stay in the draft. Again, these cars work very well in the draft, and we may see Steve Ray just opening up a nice hole in the wind so that Patry can get there, and we'll see. You can have now where Patry has a run. He moves over driver's right, which is not necessarily where you'd want to be to affect the pass under braking going into 10A, but he gets the pass done long before the braking zone of turn 10A, and we have a new leader, and that is Caleb Patry in the 198 car. Pretty big.
Yeah, that was a really nice move by Caleb, and a 1.5 gap between 2nd and 3rd. So if they could kind of maintain to staying in the draft, they'll be able to pull away a little bit more back down to Griffith and
Griffith and Justin Clardy. And so Griffith, he's been working his way through the pack here. as he, I believe, started a few cars further back from there. Of course, he was just battling it out with Chad Griffith, or probably he was just battling it out with the 311 of Bryce Evans a few laps ago, and he's right back on the tail now of Justin Clardy's number 7. And we'll have to see. Looks like he tries to cut underneath. It's not typically a turn here at Road Atlanta where you'd see a lot of passing, because what you end up having to do there is just what we saw the 826 do. You have to crank the wheel in, and you end up throwing away a lot of momentum. And you can see here it costs him about 2 car lengths coming down the hill. But you know, as long as he can stay close, Avery, he should be in good position as they come out when they come out onto the back straight.
Yeah, he should be still in striking distance. Back up to Samuel. You got 24, and then you have Hussein, who's been having a really strong run. But take a look at Samuel on the right side of the graphic, up 10 spots. That's really impressive. And he's only in 7th, so he's got some more positive spots to gain.
Yeah, he may be the hard charger at this point in the race. Of course, we still have just about 10 minutes, about half. Again, this is a 20-minute timed race, so it looks like you know, we're just about halfway, and he's had a pretty darn good run so far. A little bit behind the 311 car. We do have the battle going on between a 21 and 700 and Incensio, who we saw a little bit earlier, and Joaquin Effinger. And looks like Incensio and Effinger still side by side coming down into 10A. The 700 car of Effinger with the position going into A. And now as they make their way up the hill, looks like he's got that pass now cemented as they roll down into turn 12. Good move.
Yeah, really nice move. That's the one thing I like about this track. You can make some really nice passes. And it's just a fun track. I'm really enjoying just watching races here. It's actually one of the few tracks on iRacing I'm actually kind of good at. So obviously that makes me a big fan from a driver standpoint, but from a spectator standpoint, it's one of the iconic tracks in the U.S.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you, when we head down the road Atlanta each year for the SCCA Super Tour, I plant myself right over on Spectator Hill. It's the big hill that overlooks turn 5. You can see you can basically see the drivers as they enter turn 3, make their way all the way down the S's, and they come right to you, and the place is always packed. Matter of fact, when I raced there years ago at the American Road Race of Champions, Greg Creamer, who many people know is one of the announcers for SRO World Challenge and Grand Am and many other series, he was the announcer for the ARC, and I could swear as I came through turn 5 and bounded over the gravel trap, and everything just went quiet in my car, I could hear him scream, "Ginsburg's flying through the air!" And there were like 300 people all around him to see me, you know, have the the worst move of my life. But yeah, it's a great race, great track to drive. All right, let's jump back here, and we're looking again at the 17 of Hamilton. Kareem Hussein and Sam Tully in the 24 having a great battle. This is the battle for 6th here, so just a little bit back from our lead packs, and you know, we've been watching the 777 of Hussein as he slowly makes his way up. And although I said it's not a great idea to try and make a pass at turn 1, oh, and we've got some contact between the 777 and the number 7, and looks like Hussein got the worst of it.
Yeah, just a unfortunate instance for him. He'll get back going. Lost a lot of spots, down 8 from his starting position, but sometimes spinning on that turn, we've seen it a couple times already. But damage, excuse me, for Christopher Hamilton from that. So we'll see if that's gonna slow him up.
Yeah, and it looks like it definitely has. Justin Clardy in the number 17 gets around him, and here comes Chad Griffith again in the 826. We were watching him a little bit earlier as they come now down into turn 6, take the short shoot over to turn 7 and onto the back straight. And let's see if the 826 car can stay in the draft of the 7, and it looks like the 17 still holding tight there as well. So it looks like we've got a 3-car battle now. This is the battle for 7th. And look at this, back to our leaders.
Yeah, the battle's heated up, and it's Stevie Ray and Caleb going back and forth, and David Schwartz is sitting behind him. I'm kind of surprised that they're able to still maintain a really good gap. The gap has grown 3.5 seconds to 3rd, and they've been battling side by side. Each driver's best lap is within a couple tenths of each other, so I mean, these drivers are just putting down some really good times.
Yeah, exactly. They've been running very similar lap times for a number of laps here, and again, it looks as though they stay just close enough to stay in the draft. And although they've got a long way back to David Schwartz in the number 100 car, you can see they've kind of left him behind. The one thing I've noticed about both Patry and Steve Ray is when they are making passes, you can see they're not doing a lot of side-by-side racing at this point. They, even with just about 6 minutes left to go in this race, they are, pretty much in order to keep their momentum up, letting passes go more or less uncontested, and I'm sure that's going to end in probably in about 2 minutes to 3 minutes as they really start battling it out. But that's also helped them separate themselves from Schwartz, so it's not a 3-car battle for the lead.
Yeah, it looked like Justin went a little bit wide there, allowed Griffith to get ahead of him, and these drivers just battling side by side, going every opportunity they get, because with these cars, when you have a chance to make a pass and you don't take that chance, right, you're not going to make any moves. I mean, these cars, if there's an opportunity, you have to take it. If it's just a little bit of a hold and to make the pass, you got to take it.
Yeah, and obviously, of course, with all identical engines, and maybe the setup has changed a little bit, as we see both Clardy and Griffith coming down into turn 10A side by side. Let's see what if the number 7 car can hold on there. And it looks like a little bit of contact that the number 7 lost some pace, and as well as Chad Griffith lost some pace. And look who takes advantage, moving past both of those drivers. Is Hamilton, who moves from 9th up to 7th in the span of just one corner. Yeah, just like that, you see the opportunity and you have to take it, because these cars, at least in a straight line, they are more or less identical in speed, and where you're going to have your advantage is either A, under the draft, in places coming out of, for example, coming out of turn 7, or when drivers just aren't consistent. And so, that's, or when you see 2 cars battling it out right in front of you, and they bang into one another, as we just saw Chris Hamilton take advantage of. And here we go. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, let's go. Oh, just a nice opportunity, I mean, for Hamilton to make that pass, and they're back side by side again. And we got another long straightaway. It's just going to be a drag race.
Yeah, and look at this, and I kind of knew that this was going to happen here as they went into turn 6 and then into turn 7 side by side. Chad Griffith in the 826 car, he made up about 3, almost 4 car lengths as those 2 drivers, as the number 17 of Hamilton and the 7 of Clardy, had to slow down so that they could actually make it through turn 7. So good battle there. We're going to jump back over to, this is the battle for, I believe, 11th with Kareem Hussein and Michael Sanencencio again going at it, and add the number 700 into the mix, Joaquin Effinger. So, and these guys have been going at it now for almost the entire race.
Michael just had a bit of a wobble, a nice little save. So this is a part of the track that, you got to be just on it. I mean, you have to be foot to the floor, and you have to be on it, because if you don't hit these marks here, you're just going to ruin your lap. I mean, you always want to when you're setting a good time lap, getting a good turn 1 and 2 just really gets you in the mood. So you got to just be nice and pretty much perfect right now with a couple minutes to go.
Exactly. Now, real quick, we'll run down the points totals here. And there we go, the number 700 going wide at the looks like at the top of turn 3, and we lost another car there as well. That is the number 62 car of Corey Hunter. He went off as well. So turn 3, not very kind to a couple drivers here as we jump back up. But talking about the points here real quick. Again, this is a 9-week series, but each one of our classes is going to race is going to race 6 times over the course of the series. And the way they're doling out the points is much the same as we do on the SCCA Majors Tour, which incorporates that SCCA Super Tour that I was talking about earlier. And basically what we do is we give 25 points to the leader, to the winner. Second place gets 21. Third place gets 18. And from there, starting at 4th, we go 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, until we until we get down to 0 points. What we are also doing is we are giving bonus points that as long as you end up either on the lead lap or at most 1 lap down from our winner, if you have 0 incidents, you will get 3 bonus points. If you have just 1 incident, you'll get a single bonus point. So a way to boost up your score by being a clean racer. As we watch our leaders now making their way into turn number 7 and then onto the back straight. It is Caleb Patry with Steve Ray, and with just under a minute to go, we should have enough time here for 1 lap, for 1 final lap here. So we'll see how things play out. And as we mentioned earlier, David Schwartz now almost 5 seconds back from our leaders as they come down on the penultimate lap down into turn 10A, and Caleb Patry has just enough pace. Steve Ray does not want to sneak up the inside, and I'm sure he's trying to scope out what Patry may do the next time and the last time by, because that's going to be the last major passing opportunity for Steve Ray, unless he gets it done early, as our leaders now come onto the front straight and what should be the very last time.
Yeah, just able to barely squeak by to get another lap here, so another opportunity for Stevie to get around him.
All right, they come over that curbing at the apex of turn 3, start to make their way down through the S's, and Patry with about a car length and a half, but you'll notice here most likely under braking going into turn 5. I would suspect Ray to close things down just a little bit, and he does. They both take that take the exit curbing, as so many drivers do, to try to open up that wheel, carry as much momentum as possible. Under braking going into, and you can see the camber right here going into turn 6, on the brakes into turn 7, touching that curbing. And I'll tell you, the curbing here in iRacing not as high as I remember it. That thing would throw my CRX up on the 2 wheels for seemingly 30 feet. As they come now down onto the back straight, and Steve trying to get into the draft. You can see Patry moving from left to right to left, and he's going to be guarding that inside line, and going to make Steve Ray go down the outside. But I think Ray's got the pace, and much like Patry did earlier in the race, Savory, he gets by on the outside. A little bit of brake lockup as they come up the hill for the very last time.
Yeah, Ray locked the brakes up. They're going to go to around the final turn. Looks like it's going to be a side-by-side finish.
Patry over the curbing, and with the win, Caleb Patry wins the initial race here on the Ray Esports unofficial SCCA Racing League, the Spring Tour. And again, the great folks from RaceVoice sponsoring this race. I think we talked about them a little bit earlier, but actually let me mention what RaceVoice is and what they do. They have a great product both for real life race cars, for the physical stuff, as well as for sim racing. If you hook it up to your data acquisition system, and I believe they work with both Motec and AIM systems, it will actually analyze your data as it's coming in from the data acquisition systems and tell you, basically tell you where you can be faster, where you can be slower, when you should shift. As the rest of our cars start to cross the start-finish line, the number 100 car of Schwartz finishes in 3rd, and they're just crossing the stripe. The number 13 car of Burke, Zach Burke, and of course Burke was our pole sitter. He crosses the line, finishing in 11th position. So he made his way all the way back from the back of the pack, but unfortunately only made his way back about halfway up this very difficult field.
Yeah, let's get Caleb real quick because he's going to be trying to get into the next room.
Yep.
We got
Absolutely.
Caleb here.
Then there he is, Caleb Patry. Thank you for joining us, and congratulations on your win.
Thank you, guys. It's good to be back.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see you back. It's been a couple months. So looked like Steve made that same move going into 10A that you had pulled off earlier in the race, just driving down the outside and making the pass clean before you even got into the braking zone. But you held firm and raced him up the hill, and great move there at the end. How'd the race go for you?
It went pretty well. Qualifying didn't really go as expected. Didn't get that many clean laps, but still qualified 5th, which I'm happy about. Got a pretty good start going down the hill, got 2nd right away. Looked like Miles ran into some trouble there, and was just kind of trying to bide my time, see where I was faster, where other guys were getting me, and eventually it was just me and Steve, and yeah, again, just kind of played the waiting game, and did all I could to get away from him on the last lap, but he got that run. Then I saw he made a mistake, and from there it was just full send.
There you go. And it was a great race. And I assume you need to get ready for the Mazda MX-5 race. So let's let you go and get ready for that. Cale Patry, thanks for joining us, and congratulations on your win here on the Ray Esports unofficial SCCA Spring Tour.
Thank you, guys.
All right, so there we go, Avery. We've got one race in the book. We'll take a look here at the final results. Of course, Caleb Patry took the win. Steve Ray only 43 thousandths of a second back. You saw it almost nose to nose at the start finish line. David Schwartz in the number 100 car, he will finish in 3rd, about 7 seconds back than Jeff Miner, Greg Mack, Chad Griffith, Sam Tully, Bryce Evans, Kareem Hussein, who put in a great race today. So a lot of great passing opportunities. Michael Inocencio rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, then you got Zach Burt, Christopher Hamilton, and then you got Effinger, Todd Martin, Justin Cloutier, Corey Hunter, William Sims, and Russ Lundberg in 18th. At 19th, got Wayne Buttermore, put a good effort in for Wayne. Miles Krabbe, who started on the pole and spun out on the first turn, but he'll be able to hopefully come back for the Mazda race, try to do a little better than Danny Thomas, Charles Vaccaro, John Wilmoth, Charles Bailey, and Andrew Rosencroft. I don't believe he actually started the race, but we can't get better than that, Greg. If any race gets better than that for this Mazda,
Well, you know, I was going to say we're going to see a lot of the same drivers, but, you know, just as we always see great close racing in Spec Racer Ford, the Mazda MX-5 cars, or again, I'm sure, like I said, I'll probably call it Spec Miata 30 or 40 times tonight. I'm sure we're going to see some great racing as well. So why don't we get ready for that next race? And we'll be back in just a few moments with the Global MX-5 race presented by Driver61.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfalla.
And Ray Alfalla is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
All right, and we are back with the Ray Esports unofficial SCCA Racing League's Spring Tour. Again, congratulations to Caleb Patry, who took the win in our first race of the series in Spec Racer Ford, but now we move over to the Global MX5 Cup cars, or what I'm going to probably call Spec Miata about 35 times. And we have, at this point, looks like somewhere along the lines of 42, 43 cars that have joined, and they have just now gone out on track for their 15-minute open qualifying session. And yeah, it should be a bang-out, drag-out fight here. Avery and I were just looking up and down the entry list, and I see a lot of drivers from the SCCA Esports Super Tour, as well as the SCCA Foundation League, and some really good drivers that put in a lot of seat time both in these MX5s and also at Road Atlanta.
Oh yeah, that race last in the SRF. I mean, if we get anything close to that for tonight, I mean, I'm happy.
Absolutely, and we were just watching the 101 car. That is Murphy Nichols, who has put in a lot of time in the SCCA League, and I've seen him really grow as an iRacing driver over the last 6 months, and I think he's just now, I would say he's graduated. Of course, I think he's only 16 years old, so he hasn't graduated from high school yet, but I think he just got himself a Fanatic wheel and pedal set that he had been racing with some Logitech equipment earlier. His father's the master brewer at Smoketown Brewery, so you'll see that on the side of his car. Again, I think he's the number 101. Of course, we've got great folks like, as you can see here, Cooper Lilly in the number 69 car, as well as John Allen, who I think alien was the term we used to describe John here a little bit earlier. We also have, as I walk through and look at the list, hey, look, Stevie Ray is back, and he'll be racing with us. And actually, we have a lot of drivers that were just in the Spec Racer Ford field that are out here with us as well. Again, as these drivers are just getting underway with their 15-minute qualifying. We've got Bob Kucera as well, who've been with us on the Esports Super Tour. I believe Rich Hammond as well, John Casey. It looks like it's going to be a great battle here.
Anytime you get these cars on this track, it's always going to be a great battle. One of my favorite combos at this track is these little Mazdas. You kind of swing that car around, all those very technical parts of this track. And
exactly, yeah. I mean, very well balanced. You know, very, very nimble. They've got the ABS, which the Spec Racer Fords did not. They're very, very well balanced. It's not hard to put them in a four-wheel drift, as we just saw there from the, I believe, the 45 car of Kucera, who just crossed the line. And they're just spectacular. You always get great racing in these cars. All right, we've got another Smoketown car. That is the number 21, who's making his way over now. Oh, and I said the 101 was Murphy Nichols. That's actually John Allen, the alien. And I think it was the 21 car that's actually Murphy. We'll check on him in a few moments and see where he ends up after he puts in some qualifying laps. But yeah, now the challenge you're going to have here, though, is with 40-some cars out on track. And I think at this point we are looking at, I think we've got 22 that have set time so far. Of course, we have other cars on track here that have not completed their first flying laps. You know, the MX-5s, Avery, they work incredibly well in the draft. You don't set good qualifying times, though, when you're side by side. And I know we had just seen a couple going in the turn one side by side. That's just not a great way to get it done. As we look here at the number 9 car, that is Mark Kruger, I think, flouting the Central Florida region logo, and we'll double check that as he goes by. But I believe that was Central Florida region of the SCCA, and no, Finger Lakes region. I saw FLR, Finger Lakes region, which is up near Watkins Glen Way. Matter of fact, we have the Glen region and the Finger Lakes region that usually alternate each year in races that are at the Glen for the SCCA. And
yeah, but speaking of qualifying, though, is you got to be able to have, if you want to have a semi-clean track, you want to be able to have enough toe to where you don't catch up to the driver in front of him where you need to make a pass.
Exactly.
He's got to be. I'm not good at it. These drivers are doing much better at it. But yeah, it's so important to be able to be in the draft, but not too much in the draft. Yeah,
but not in there to the extent that you run up on the driver and you find that you got to give a quick jab on the brakes, or you got to get into the brakes a little bit harder, say coming into turn 7 than you normally would, because you don't judge that gap well enough. And then again, you don't necessarily want to go through some of the quick flowing turns here, like turn 1 side by side with another driver, because it's only going to slow you both down. And again, when you have possibly, and we are looking now at let's see. Yeah, it looks like almost all 43 cars are on track at this point. I think we're looking at about 39 or 40 that have either set a time or are on their first flying lap. If you don't manage to set a good gap and give yourself a nice clean qualifying lap, you could end up in the back of that 43 car field having to make your way through.
Yeah, it'd be very difficult to get up through 43rd front. But if you take a look at the timing tower on the left side of your screen, look how close all those times are. I mean, usually it's like a couple tenths, and then it's boom, 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 and then there's another tenth of a second. Just everybody's super close, so it's really good.
There we go. Yeah, it looks like John Allen coming down into the pits. Maybe he's going to go and change some tires and go back out there. And where is he currently? Let's see if we can find where John Allen is in the qualifying order right now.
He hasn't quite put a lap in yet. So.
Yeah, he hasn't. Yeah, he hasn't managed to put in a flying lap yet.
The one thing keep in mind here on iRacing, say you are the draft and you give that car in front of you a little bit of bump and you get a 0x, that's going to cancel out that time. Any incident, 0x to off track cancels out your qualification time. So you got to keep it. You got to keep the laps clean. Otherwise, you have to do another lap.
Yeah, I have to go and do it again.
At least you have 15 minutes to get a lap in. So.
Exactly. All right, so we're watching the 78-30 and the 69 car right now. All in a row with a good draft going on. We'll see if they can maintain that that half a car length gap going into 10A. And here we go with the number 30, looking to see if he can make a pass. And yeah, it looks like he gets it done in plenty of time, so that it shouldn't affect either of those 3 cars now coming down into 10A. That is the number 30 of Tattersall.
Yeah, just keeping that foot in it. You gotta keep on the throttle. Man, this track's got the potential for another exciting race.
Oh, absolutely. You know, again, with the ability to keep up the draft here, and you can see what a slingshot. That's the 2nd pass in a row. Ooh, dropping a wheel before entry into 10A, but the number 15 car looks like he gathers it back up, and they make their way down to turn 12. Yeah, and well, actually, it looks like that car now is checking into the pits. But you know, if you saw the last 2 pairs of cars that we saw coming out of turn 7, you know, if you can stay, you know, just maybe a car length and a half off coming out of turn 7, you get that slingshot very early on the back straight. You know, great opportunity so that you don't have to necessarily go into 10A and hard on the brakes side by side with another driver. You can possibly get that pass done very early. As we're back on board with John Allen, let's see here. I believe this is his out lap after having been in the pits. Let's take a look. Yeah, that's his out. Starting a flying lap now. So let's see how John Allen, the alien, does here as he goes now under braking going into turn 3. Pops over the curbing there. Whoa, gets a little crossed up.
Yeah, the difference between alien and amateur like myself. Alien saves the car, amateur junked into the fence. So
yes.
So that was a nice save. I am able to maintain a good pace.
Yeah, we'll see if that little bobble there hurts the overall lap time. I'm sure it's gonna, you know, at least probably take a couple hundredths of a second off as he now works his way onto the back straight. Now sitting up towards the top of the leaderboard right now, with just about 3.5 minutes left to go, is Zach Burke. We saw him a little bit earlier in Spec Race Forge. Ryan Maloney is in the pits right now. He's currently your 2nd fastest driver in qualifying. Charles Bailey, who I know from the SCCA Foundations League, is currently sitting 3rd in the number 63 car, and Michael Peak in the number 56, currently your 4th fastest driver. If things were to start now, if qualifying were to end now, he'd be on the outside of the 2nd row. Let's take a look as John Allen crosses the stripe. Where does he end up? John Allen, 18th, turns a 1:37.38 with his very first flying lap. So he's got a little bit of time to go and set another. You know, so that little bobble there definitely cost him. Goes through turn 3 with a little more intention there, and looks good as he starts to make his way down the hill. Getting some, I think part of it also, Avery, is you know, as he was just starting that flying lap, might not have had all the heat he needed in the tires there, and had, you know, you could see him sawing at the wheel at a couple places.
Yeah, I got to get the tires heated up, and you saw him go through the S's there. I mean, just putting on a clinic right now. I mean, I'm just taking notes right now what I need to do the next time I'm driving this car here, and I need to keep it in the throttle. I got to quit lifting and using the brake, because he was just flying through there, and you know, it's good to see him just work that car around and just really put on a show.
Yeah, he was on it. All right, Murphy Nichols, who we talked about a little bit earlier, he's currently qualified 7th in the number 21 car. That's the Smoketown Brewery car. And as you can see, looking at our ticker on the left, he is on his out lap. And there he is in a 21 car. We're following that dark blue, white, and red Smoketown car onto the back straight. Now we'll see how much of a run he can get. You can see there's a lot of traffic up ahead of him.
Yeah, a lot of traffic. You know, this is also a good opportunity to kind of practice driving in traffic. You know, because it's, I mean, you're pretty much going to be in traffic this whole race.
Yeah, it's going to get busy. It is definitely going to get busy.
Just a minute left to go in qualification. We got Burke out in front, Maloney, Allen. Allen moves up to 3rd.
There we go.
See what he can do.
Whoa! Going for the Mr. Toad's wild ride coming out of turn 5. There's John Allen. That's that's more or less what I did at that race years ago I was telling you about. But he gathers it back up, and we'll see if he can improve upon his current fast lap, a 135.98. As you can see, that is 42 thousandths off of Ryan Maloney's time right now, which is good enough for second at a 136.50.
Yeah, really good times for, I mean, a lot of these drivers are just super close. And what's nice about, you know, having a kind of a field this big is if, say, if you're not one of the faster drivers in the room, you still have somebody to race against. And
oh yeah, exactly.
that makes it super important because it's really easy to get discouraged when you're, you know, not really racing against somebody. So it's really, that's what's really nice about these larger grids.
Yeah, and 40 plus cars over a 2.5 mile course. It still makes for some crowded driving everywhere. And you know what we may see, there we go, the checkered flag is now being displayed, and so all final laps will count. We'll see if some of these drivers are still on current laps. It looks like Michael Peake may be out and driving right now in the number 56 car. He is currently your second fastest driver. Looking, and there is Mr. Peake. And looks like he's going to abort the lap that he was on. But, you know, when you've got 40-some cars over 2.5 miles, not only do you have somebody to race with pretty much everywhere you are, but one of the things that may come into play here is towards the front of the field. I would not be surprised if traffic management and how to race through traffic comes into play. As it normally does at Road Atlanta with larger fields. And
yeah, 20-minute race has the good opportunity for some you know, lap traffic. Definitely if someone has some pretty bad luck, so he's got to be cautious.
Exactly, and to just again remind everybody that coming up next is going to be a 20-minute race for these Spec MX-5 drivers. This race is brought to you by Driver61. They offer driver coaching at numerous tracks around the country. They do have I believe a package of some free content that you can view on their website, and then of course paid services as well. Definitely go and check them out. They are at driver61.com. All right, so our last drivers here on track, making their way through. That's the 62 and the 23. The 62 is Rich Hammond, and he is still on a flyer, making his way on his flying lap, and well, not any longer. looks like he called it off. All right, so let's go, Avery. Let's run down the starting grid here for our Spec MX-5 race. You want to go and grab that for me?
I got that for you. Starting on the pole, we have the Canadian combo of Zach Burke and Mitchell Peake, then Ryan Maloney, and then John Allen. We've talked about quite a bit during this qualification. Then Charles Bailey, Miles Krabbe, who lost it in turn number 1 in the SRF race. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm sure he's looking for some redemption.
He is. George Fike, Murphy Nichols, Richard Spicer, Cooper Lilly, Lyle Zira, and Christopher Hamilton in the 12th position. Down to 13th, Tyler Campbell and Bob Kucera in 14th. That's my man, Racer Greg, giving me all the pronunciation guides, and I love it.
All right, we got Suraj, we got Greg Mack 15th, Suraj Pradhan 16th, Stevie Ray. It's gonna be a little bit of a battle for him to make his way up to the front and battle for the second win in this evening. But I'm sure he's gonna make a run at it. Sam Tully starting 18th, Greg Brockway 19th, Andrew Wozencroft starting 20th. 21st, Chad Griffith, Adam Buchanan, 22nd, Michael Inocencio, we saw him a little bit earlier tonight, in 23rd. Bobby Blankenship will start 24th. Starting 25th, Sean Hayes, Richard Hammond, 26th, Chris Spiller, 27th. Starting right next to him will be Charles Vaccaro, then Charles Younger, 29th, Mark Kruger right beside in 30th. Jeff Tattershaw will start 31st, Steve Ruman, 32nd. Then Bryce Evans and Peter Rolfe, 33rd and 34th. Tom Patton, and I wonder if that's Tiger Tom Patton. I'll bet you that is Tiger Tom Patton. Good to see him here out of Ohio, and he drives a GT2 Sunbeam Tiger. That thing is absolutely amazing to watch on track. Don Manning will start 36th. Then we got Bryce Evans and Peter Rolfe, 33rd and 34th. Another Tom Patton 34th. Oh, did I already run through those? Oh, guess I did. Yeah. Todd Martin 37th, John Casey 38th, Joaquin Effinger 39th, and Ed Nicholson. And we are now ready for the green flag, and it is in the air, Avery.
Yeah, 40. Ended up being 44 cars taking the green flag. Burke, Peak, Allen, Maloney, and Krabbe. Let's see if Miles can get through turn number 1. Yes, he can.
Oh, got through this time. All right, so now as they go over the top of the curbing at the top of turn 3, it is Zach Burke, and he's opened up about a 3.5 car length lead over Michael Peak. Then he's got John Allen right behind him. Allen being pressured early, going down the S's there by Ryan Maloney. Then we got Miles Crabb and Charles Bailey. About, I'd say, about 4 car lengths back from there, and it looks like we might have had a car that went off at turn 5. We saw the one car coming through on the exit. Oh, and yeah, we just had a car go off through turn 5 into the wall. Driver's left as our leaders now. We'll get back and take a look at that a little bit later if we can. Our leaders now making their way onto the back straight out of turn 7. There we've got the battle of the 09 car of Greg Fike and Murphy Nichols battling it out for 7th. But our leaders now, the 2 Canadians, Zach Burke and Mitchell Peak, followed very closely by John Allen and Ryan Maloney, make the run down into turn 10A for the very first time. The Canadians both cheat the drivers left just a little bit to hold off Allen and Maloney, but I don't know if it was really all that necessary as they come underneath the Suzuki Bridge and down turn 12 to complete lap 1.
Yeah, 4-car breakaway led by Burke with Maloney holding up the tail end of the field and Bailey behind him. It's about 6 cars there as you take a look at that train of cars all the way back to about 15th place, and this is awesome.
Yeah, this is great. As you know, as these drivers going a little wide there, coming through the grass, and I think the car that had gone off a little bit earlier was the yellow car. Is that the number 75? I think of Pradhan, maybe. I'm not.
I believe he was the one that went off. There's so many cars, and you know, with my poor vision and the small numbers, it makes it kind of tough for me to even see.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
the bifocal's on.
Yeah, and I think the driver that went off and crashed out at turn 5 on the first lap was Richard Hammond in the number 62 car, and looks like his day now is done. All right, so our leaders now making their way back onto the back straight here, the long back straight at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. A little bit further back in the pack, we got a great battle here going on between the 87 car and the 69. That is let's see, that is Lyle Zyra and then also Cooper Lilly, and a good battle there. And let's add in Bob Cusera with that battle as well as they come down the hill, and it looks like Cusera coming down all the way down the inside. He's going to pick up a position, it looks like.
Yeah, lots of battles here.
Yeah, I think the first lap, it looked like a lot of the drivers are still kind of dealing with cold tires and kind of moving around a little gingerly, but now now you start to see these four-wheel drifts, and these cars are really getting at it as we watch Murphy Nichols now. Nichols down in 7th position, and he's under attack right now by Miles Crabb and Richard Spicer as they make their way down through the S's in that Smoketown car. There you go. As our leaders continue to stretch things out right now, Burke, Peak, Allen, and Maloney. Charles Bailey in the number 63 car. He is now about 6 car lengths back from our lead 4 cars, about another 3 car lengths back to George Fike, and then there's that battle with Nichols, Crabb, and Spicer, and I think they're starting to move up into the pack right now. Look at that! That's that high curbing at turn 7 that I remember. You saw the front end of that car go flying through the air as our leaders now come underneath the Mazda bridge, and we'll see here. Let's see if Burke and Peak to the inside a little bit again to hold off a possible pass. You know, I'm guessing that Allen and Maloney might hold off for like another lap or 2 before they start to try to make their way around the Canadians, just to stretch things out just a little bit more from Bailey and Fike.
Yeah, they got 2-second gap between 4th and 5th, and the one thing I wanted to kind of mention is you got a couple laps. Oh, it's contact with a 75 and the 24 and 24.
Yeah, that's Sam Tully and Suraj Pradham. Saw Pradham go have a wild ride through turn 5 on the first lap, and here we go coming over through turn 12, and that little beating and banging might have caused some problems. And look at that, it's the same driver that we saw in Spec Racer Ford, the 826 of Chad Griffith, always there to take advantage.
Yeah, he saw him make some really nice moves when he had the opportunity. It was given to him, and he's doing that again. I think a lot of these drivers, they're doing both the Spec Racer Ford and the Miata. It's just they're 2 different cars, and you got to be ready.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got a couple laps to kind of get your kind of break the nerves a little bit. Then you just got to get your head down, start clicking off some good laps, and just try to get up a couple more positions. I mean, that's the end goal with sim racing, just to try to do a little bit better than where you started, and just get better for the next one.
There you go. All right, let's take a look here. Pradham, looked like he had a good run through 6, then he peaked the car to the inside. I don't know if he thought that he had just a little bit more of a run on Sam Tully. You can see now that coming out of 7, he definitely has a run on Sam Tully, but thought he was going to lose some ground going into 7 there. All right, our leaders now coming into 10A and 10B, and John Allen going very wide coming through 10B. I don't know if he thought that maybe Ryan Maloney had snuck up the inside there, but if anything, looks like Maloney might be the odd man out here as we jump back to that battle. This is the battle around 16th, where we've got Wozencroft in the number 80. We've got Pradhan in that yellow number 75, who might win the battle for most camera time tonight. At this point, he's seemingly everywhere as they go down turn 1. But this looks like a great battle going on. Look at these 5-6 cars all going at it side by side.
Oh yeah, these cars are just going back and forth and back, and just really going after it. Just really, I mean, this is what you get when you get these kind of drivers that, not only just really good at the sim, just have really good racecraft, and they're able to race around each other. They think that's, being fast is one thing, but to have good racecraft means a lot. Definitely put on great races like this.
All right, here, look at this. We've got the 75 of Pradhan. That's an aggressive move coming down into 6, and and this is one of those times where, and I kind of dinged them earlier. It'll be a good move if he doesn't lose a lot of pace there, but sticking all the way to the inside and trying to shove it under somebody in turn 7, going to be hard for him to keep up momentum on the straight here.
Yeah, and if you make the pass, I guess who's coming right back around you with the
exactly. Yeah, exactly. There were like 4 cars all lined up and taking the traditional line through turn 7. So he might be, we'll check back on Pradhan in just a few moments here. That might be might be challenging for him. All right, so our leaders now coming down into turn 1 as we start lap number 6. Again, this is a timed race, a 20-minute timed race, and it looks like the two Canadians starting the two teammates there starting to step away just a little bit. So there you go. Looks like Prodden actually held his own coming down through turn 12 here. We've still got that, that side-by-side battle with the number 24 car. Let's see if these two, oh, look at that, just inches separating them as they come through turn 1 and up the hill. And, I guess the advantage, oh, there we go. Finally, we have contact. I was waiting for it. But they get back in line. And so Inocencio and Prada and Tully, they're all going at it. Look at that. Yeah, this is, Avery, this is just like a real Spec Miata race.
Yeah, this is definitely some really good battling, and these cars, this track, I think I've said it a couple hundred times almost, always put on a good show.
Oh, look at this. The two Canadians, they'd worked the draft, had separated themselves out from John Allen and Ryan Maloney, and then the draft, as they come down the back straight, John Allen just pops the car to the inside, and we have a new leader in Spec Miata, John Allen, or in Global MX5, pardon me. It's John Allen in the number 101 car. Then we've got the 38 of Burke and Peak side by side as they set up for turn number 1, and you could just see John Allen chomping at the bit. You saw that draft with the two Canadians side by side, and he just did not have a way through. Now we'll have to take a look there as the 38 of Burke, as he popped over the curbing, Avery. I mean, that is one of those places where you could get in iRacing a slowdown penalty, basically. And it looked like he had all 4 wheels to the inside of the curbing there. He's still running, and he hasn't pulled out a line. So I guess no harm, no foul there. Now this is a good pass. That's the number 32 car of and with the appropriately named that's Steven Vrooman in the number 32. Trying to make an outside pass through turn 3. You don't see that work all that often, but certainly made it look good there.
Yeah, definitely made that pass look really good.
Yeah, give him style points for that one, definitely.
I mean, take a look at the side of this track right now. You see the judges putting up a 10. There's 3 judges.
That's it. Oh, look at this.
10. So.
Avery, look at this. More changes at the front of the field. Just as John Allen had drafted himself past the Canadians coming into turn 10A on the previous lap, he now falls back to third. The two Canadians, the two teammates working together, managed to get back by, and they are now side by side. It is our leader, Mitchell Peak, and then Zach Burke. Burke to the inside, and he has the position. He is our new leader as they roll up the hill, spot that big tree, and set themselves up for turn 3. John Allen now running third. Ryan Maloney, at least for now, seems kind of content back and forth.
Yeah, he still has time on his hands.
Yeah.
About 9 minutes to go, 8-9 minutes. They've still got plenty of time to try to make a pass, and sometimes you guys just got to be a little patient, which is really tough with these cars at this track.
Yeah, and a little bit further back, just back from our leaders, Murphy Nichols, who we saw, I guess the last time we checked in on him, he was running 7th. He now runs 5th, ahead of Miles Crabb and Richard Spicer. There he is in the number 21 car as they roll out of turn 7 onto the back straight. As we see here, pretty substantial gap from our top 4 cars back to Nichols, Crabb, and Spicer. They're about 4 seconds back. Then about another 7 or 8 car lengths till we get to the 63 car of Charles Bailey, and then once again, and then we've been seeing these two drivers side by side seemingly the entire race. We've got the 45 of Bob Kucera and the 87 of Lyle Sierra, or I think it's Sierra actually, as they come into 10A. With Greg McIntyre Campbell wondering why they can't get by these two drivers that just seemingly want to drive around the track side by side. Speaking of which, we've got Prada and Inocencio once again going into 10A.
Yeah, big
But
shout out to our pilot with the chopper cam, just getting the good shots.
Yeah, look at that right there. And no, Greg Brockway is not the pilot of the is not the pilot of the chopper, but there we go. Let's look at this. Oh, here we go. The 45 car again of Bob Kucera, and this time Lyle Zira in the 87. He's separated himself out just a little bit as they make their way through the S's. But you know, again, just like typical Global MX5 Cup or Spec Miata racing, lots of nose to tail action, you know, as again, the draft is key here. And, you know, we're seeing this, Avery, lap after lap that, you know, ooh, a little bit of contact there. Is that the, nope, that's not the 87 car. That's one of our other yellow cars. That is the 32 of Steven Vrooman, who we saw earlier. But, you know, it looks like as you come out of turn 7, you know, again, if you're just even like a car length back, the slingshot effect there from the draft is pretty darn strong to be able to get, you know, assuming the car ahead of you doesn't get the greatest of runs out of 7. But here we go again, setting up for passes going into turn 10A. And the car control these guys are showing for the most part is pretty darn good to be able to keep that car straightened up and even stay off the curbing at the exit of 10B is pretty darn tough in real life. And you know, I'll tell you, typically when I race and do iRacing, I'm usually in the Volkswagen Jetta because I want something similar to my front wheel drive Hondas, and you know, going through 10A and 10B in the Jetta is a completely different ballpark than the Mazda. Oh, look at this! It's the 45 car. Gets on the curbing as he comes out of turn 3, makes his way down the S's. The 45 of Kucera, he's now going to drop what looks like 3 positions, move him down to 14th now as he gives up a position to Stevie Ray. Let's take a look at it again. As he goes, and yeah, look at that. He was a little wide of the apex going into 3 as Steve Ray took the apex away and got stuck. And if we can stay with this just a little bit, I was hoping we could stay with this view because I think he had problems going into turn 5, coming down the hill as well. But he's got it back under control, and we can see here he's definitely lost the draft, which is going to be a problem. All right, Murphy Nichols under attack again.
Yeah, if you lose the draft, that's definitely going to be a big struggle. So we'll see if you get able to maintain a little bit quicker pace to catch back up.
All right, Murphy Nichols still sitting in 5th, but back to our leaders. And what was I saying about John Allen content to just sit back in 4th, or pardon me, Ryan Maloney to sit back in 4th? He's now battling for the lead with Zach Burke as we have just about 3.5 minutes left in this 20-minute race. And so our leader now is Zach Burke, Ryan Maloney running 2nd, and then we've got John Allen 3rd, Mitchell Peak falling back to 4th, and we're watching the bumper cam off of our leaders. They come now down into turn 6.
Yeah, look, beautiful bumper cam. You can just really see how close these drivers are getting to each other on board with Burke.
There he goes. They hit that curbing, trying to stay off the red Georgia clay. And here we go. Let's take a look and see if Ryan Maloney can use that draft. And there he goes. He steps to the inside in the Olsen Vest machine. Actually, I talked to the owner of Olsen Vest, Alan Olsen, down at Sebring this past week, and he was very happy with the way Maloney's been attacking iRacing. Here we go into 10.
Yeah, Maloney, Burke, Allen, Peak, they've been the top 4 this whole entire race, and pretty much nose to tail with just a little bit of a gap to Peak. But, you know, with just over 2 minutes to go here, Greg, I mean, it's still anyone's chance in the top 4. See Burke trying to make a move.
Yeah, and Burke's got position going into turn 1 as they go side by side. Let's see if John Allen can carry some speed up the hill, and he does. Let's see if he can clear. He's got position and going into 3, and yes, John Allen runs a little wide, but it looks as though he may have taken over second position from Ryan Maloney. Let's take a look, and now he finally cements that he is our new second place runner. But with all of that jockeying for position there between Allen and Maloney, look at this. Our leader, and we'll have to see if this can hold up under the draft, but our leader, Zach Burke, he's now opened up a 2.5 car length lead over Allen and Maloney as they come now down into turn 7.
You'll see Allen and Maloney probably work together to try to get back up to Burke, because they're going to need to get a little close to that bumper to move up a little bit quicker to Burke. So just over a minute to go. It's just, I would say, most likely going to be our coming to the white flag.
Here we go. Now, if John Allen pokes out, and it looks like he's going to stay put, I was going to say, if he poked out right there, it would basically be game over with Burke being able to pretty much run away to the checkered flag the next time by. But now John Allen, he gets a little bit of separation from Maloney and from Peak as they come down, crossing the stripe as we start what should be the final lap of this race. I call it the final lap, but our starter there not holding any flags out. little lazy of them right now. No white flag in the air, but here they come over the curbing at turn 3 for the very last time, and down the hill.
Yeah, down the hill they go. Burke, Allen, Maloney, Peak, your top 4. Just a car length in between pretty much each of those drivers, and Allen's really going to have to put the head down and get a good corner entrance here, because he needs a good run on Burke if he can try to make an overtake.
And here we go. Nose of the car right up to the edge of the curbing, and as they come into 7, you can see right back on the rear bumper, so that that car length and a half, maybe 2 car length separation that they had coming down through the S's is now gone. And here we go. John Allen now pulls out drivers right, and you can see now that Burke is trying to move him over as far as he can. But Allen, look at this now. John Allen coming up the inside drivers left. He may have the position going down into 10A. Oh my gosh, under braking. Oh my, what a move from the center with Zach Burke. Late on the brakes as he now comes down the hill, and it's gonna be, yes it is Zach Burke. He is your winner. Finishing second will be Mitchell Peak. Ryan Maloney takes to the grass. He is gonna finish in 3rd. John Allen crosses the stripe in 4th. For a moment there, I thought John Allen was gonna have the lead and the win, but Zach Burke, with a late braking maneuver from the center lane going down in the 10A, he takes the win. As we now have Murphy Nichols, he's going to come home in 5th. Charles Bailey will finish in 6th. Richard Spicer in 7th. And as we roll back here, we've got Miles Crabb and Tyler Campbell. 8th and 9th. Lyle Zero finishes in 10th as the rest of the field goes through. I'm wondering, and I'm hoping that our great director Dennis can roll back a little bit and show us that great run going down into 10A with that battle for the win on the very last lap between Burke, Maloney, and Allen.
Yeah, Burke just put on a very good effort. Just had the opportunities that we take a look back at the replay.
Yeah, here we go.
In the middle, you got Allen on the right, and Peak.
Yeah, and you can see Allen actually had moved and nosed up and had the position going in, and he got on the brakes early. He got on the brakes very early, and then there was contact between Maloney and John Allen, and that allowed Zach Burke, who was the latest on the brakes, from the middle lane to take away the apex from Maloney and take the win. That was just absolutely some top-notch racing from Zach Burke.
Yeah, it was pretty much the win it or wear it moment. I mean, you have the opportunity for the win, you got to send it, and that's what he did.
That's what he did. All right, let's see if we can get Zach in here and talk to him and get some strategy? Is he somewhere where we can pull him in?
Not quite. Just remember, if you're watching this after the race, if you were in this race, remember, join the Apex Discord if you're in the top 3 for a good old interview. So, but we do have Mitchell Peak here. We can bring him down to second place finisher.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's bring Mitchell in. All right, Mitchell Peak. Great race today. Pulled off second in the Global MX5 race, and it was that was one heck of a finish there.
I don't even know what happened at the end. I think Ryan ran out of fuel just as he was coming around the last corner, and I think that held John up. So I just had to run on the inside to sneak second away. But I think I was the 4th fastest guy out there today.
Yeah, you guys had a great battle from the drop of the green flag, both you and Zach, and of course Ryan and John as well. And so, what was your strategy going in here?
My strategy was definitely just at the start to keep it clean and get in line and just be part of the breakaway pack. So with about 8 or 9 laps to go, there was just the 4 of us up there, and for the most part we kept it pretty clean. And then getting towards the end, it got a little feisty. John made a nice move coming into turn 2 on the inside that pushed me right back down to 4th on that lap, and it was just kind of a battle from that point on, just to hang on to the draft to give myself a chance at the end. Those guys are all super quick.
Yeah, all 4 of you put on a great show today, and yeah, it was certainly good to the fact that you stayed in the draft. When I saw them go 3 wide into turn 10A, I had a feeling that they wouldn't all 3 make it out of there. Of course, there was that little bit of contact between John and Ryan, and if one of them was down on fuel, that obviously was going to complicate things. But you were definitely in the right place at the right time. Mitchell Peak, thanks for joining us. Congratulations on your podium, and hopefully we'll see you back here next week when we travel to Sonoma Raceway.
Sounds great. Thanks a lot for the opportunity, guys. I had a lot of fun tonight. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Mitchell. That was Mitchell Peak, finished second tonight in Global MX5 here from Road Atlanta on the Ray eSports unofficial, gosh, I hate having to fit that in, but the unofficial SCCA Racing League and its spring tour. So, Avery, 2 wonderful races this evening.
Yeah, 2 wonderful races. The winner of the second race is Zach Burke, and we're joined along with Zach here up in the commentary booth. And,
there he is.
Zach, man, take us through that final couple turns to get you that win.
Hey guys, yeah, it was pretty crazy race, but tons of fun. Heading down the back straight there, I knew John Allen looked like he had a good shot at it. I was kind of a sitting duck there, but then heading into 10A, everyone spread out 3 wide and kind of reset everyone's chances back to 0. So it was just a bit of a dogfight from there.
Yeah, it was pretty much you in the top 4, and I mean, you guys went back and forth and side by side, and you just really put on a show. So I know the viewers want to thank you, but I just want to thank you for putting on a good show. It was really fun to watch. Anything, Greg?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great battle to watch. Of course, we just finished talking to Mitchell Peak, and the fact that you guys did wait till the last couple laps, separated yourselves out, and watching you go 3 wide into 10A on that last lap, and to be perfectly honest, I thought probably the person with the least chance of coming out into 10A in the lead was the person coming down the center, and that was you. But you put on such a late breaking move. It was just really wonderful to see, wonderful to watch, and want to congratulate you on a spectacular win this evening.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. And I'd just like to thank Steve as well for putting on such a great race. That was awesome.
Yeah, without a doubt. So and thanks, Zach, and congratulations. Hopefully, we'll see you next week at the virtual Sonoma Raceway.
Will do. Thanks, guys.
Excellent. So, as he mentioned, I want to thank, of course, Stevie Ray, who we had out here for. Oh, hey, look! Before we break, look who just popped into the announce booth here. We've got John Allen. So before we wrap things up, John, great race this evening.
Yes, it was. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so definitely the excitement that I was looking for on the very last lap there. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you saw and what were your thoughts going into turn 10A?
First off, earlier in the race, I managed it pretty well. I had to kind of have the car come to me because I've been driving the Lamborghini all week. Everybody's practicing for the 24, and the car
Right.
felt kind of weird. So happy to be on the front two rows and kind of get part of the breakaway. But then had a chance to make a move when I saw wide behind me and won and was stretching it out, and that was all going to plan. And then nearly bit it out of 7 there, a little too rambunctious out of that corner. And so that didn't last, and I was back in the thick of it.
Yeah.
But that final run, the gap to me and Ryan was the same as me and Zach. So I knew Ryan would have a chance to make it 3 wide. Obviously, I was going to get to Zach, and it was just a matter of under braking if he was going to go for it. He had the right to maintain the lane. My spotter said clear, but just by an inch. So I was prepping to turn in, and I heard we were 3 wide again, and so I just threw it down into second, hoping I could under over both. That brought Mitchell into it, and then he and I would have been neck and neck probably for third, but Ryan ran out of fuel just in front of me, so I had to.
That's what we heard.
Kill us all. So, great race though, really close, really tight, and well held by everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, John, we've got to wrap things up here, but I want to thank you so much for coming back. Obviously, watching quite a bit on the eSports Super Tour, and well, hopefully we'll see you at some of the SCCA Time Trials national events as well. And you cook some good barbecue, so
I serve some good barbecue.
You serve some good barbecue. That's right. Yeah, I guess we'll leave the cooking to Steve Miller, but definitely want to thank you for coming out tonight, and hopefully we'll see you and all of your great talents in iRacing and in the Global MX5 Cup cars in the weeks to come. So thanks again, and that is John Allen, finishes 4th this evening in Global MX5 Cup.
Yeah, what a great performance, Greg. That was such a fun race to watch. I mean,
Yeah.
From 1 to 44, I mean, it was excitement all the way around. And if you like what you saw tonight, come back next week, same time, same place on Apex Racing TV. So yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Next Tuesday night, we're gonna be at Sonoma Raceway, and we're gonna have once again the Global MX5 Cup cars. They will be our first race of the evening at just a few minutes after 8:40. I guess around we'll be going on air at 8:40. The race will start right around 8:45, and then we will also have the Pro Formula Mazda cars as well. They'll be out here. That will be the second race of the evening. As I was getting ready to do before John popped up, want to thank Steve Ray, who worked together with SCCA in order to get this league together, as did Greg Hubler. So want to thank both of them for spearheading the effort. And as you can see, to have 45 or so cars out here in this race with just a little bit of planning, it really speaks volumes for what they've been able to do and the goodwill that they've built up with the SCCA. So again, next week we're going to be at Sonoma Raceway. Want to thank our great sponsors, RaceVoice. You can find out more about their products for both the physical race cars, the real race cars, as well as their product for sim racing. You can get them at www.racevoice.com, and also Driver61. Find out more information about their driver coaching services at driver61.com. And for Avery McDonald, and of course behind the scenes there running the show, want to thank the great Dennis Branch and all of the folks with Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsberg. We'll be back here same time next week from Sonoma Raceway. Thanks so much and have a great evening.